Good after morning, and welcome everybody to episode 105 of Stat Check, with a name that I really don't feel like I should be allowed to read out, but really should be Innis Check. I hope everybody's doing well and had a great weekend at whatever various tournaments or other accoutrement they were at. I am Innis. I am joined by a full host crew today. I have Nathan, Jeremy, and Anthony joining us live today for episode 105. Truly, it is such a special occasion to have everybody with us, as always. How is everybody doing? Nathan, kick us off.
I'm doing great. Labor Day weekend's always kind of nice. I took 2.5 days off. I only took a half day on Monday because I'm terrible and don't stop working. Other than that, it was very relaxing. I assembled some more immolators. Now I've got 4 immolators assembled, waiting to be painted, along with all sorts of other stuff, just in time for them to get nerfed in like a month or two or whatever it is. I don't know.
Isn't that the tradition with you?
It's true. I'm going to catch up just as it gets nerfed, and then I'm going to be right back where I started ad nauseam.
Is that neither me nor Anthony's been playing Sisters, and Jeremy, and he's copying someone else for a change. That's different.
It's true. Although Jeremy told me I should be playing 6 immolators, which is just...
I never said that. I said you could.
That sounds wrong.
You can play 6. It's probably a terrible idea. I don't think I'm going to... No. Also, I don't want to paint any more of them. I've got too many things to paint. As is... And 2 more immolators is not on the list of things. But yeah, other than that, waiting for Space Marine 2 to come out for early access in like 2 days. And that's about it. That is the extent of my wants and needs and desires at the moment, is to play a giant guy in Gravis armor whose Iron Halo is apparently just a front-loaded shield to protect you from bullets. So yeah, that's it. That's how things are going.
Fair enough.
How are you doing, Anthony?
Me? Whoa, you went out of order. I'm going counterclockwise. What the fuck, Nathan? Jesus Christ. I'm doing pretty good. I keep trying to play The Witcher 3 because Typhus told me I had to beat it before champs, and every time that I like sit down to play it, I'm like, all right, I get like 5 minutes into it, and then my work computer dings. I'm like, God damn it. And then I go to do it at night, and then I get distracted by a 40k thing, so I'm not making good progress on that the way that I'd like to be, which is embarrassing. It's also a game where you have to watch all the cutscenes, and that is so not how I normally interact with games. So it's taking me longer than I want it to. But it's a pretty good game. It's fun. Combat's okay. I'm gonna get in a lot of trouble for saying it like that. In general, things have been good though. The weekend was pretty chill. Got to do a bunch of catch back up on being a person stuff. I spent a full day taking a bunch of people that had just finished being at Nova and then trying to train them up to, play new armies and get adjusted to trying to get a little bit more teams focused in the local, to trying to be like, you're going to play this army. You're going to play it for the next balance patch, the duration of the balance patch. And they're like, but what if and I was like, shut up. No. So it was a lot of that for a little bit. It was pretty good. It went well. People got to try new and interesting things. A bunch of people just randomly scattered onto teams for Champs Cup. Shout out to my boy Brandon Fox for last minute getting YOLO'd into going to Nova, then last minute getting YOLO'd into going to Champs.
Is anything not just a last minute YOLO?
Normally he's pretty well planned, but the last couple months have not been good. So it's been pretty funny. He's gonna be playing Necrons now out of left field. We wrote up a Hypercrypt list for him, and he's gonna go roll Catans. He had the first game we played, I shot a Tyrannifex at him, failed the save on the Catan, rolled the 12 for damage, halved to 6, rolled the Feel No Pains, passed 4, and he was like, well, that was 12 damage, reduces wound counter by 2. And I was like, that causes me great agony. I need you to know that. And he was like, I'm never playing anything else ever again.
Half damage is done.
So that was pretty funny. So yeah, he's been having a good time with that. He's always like really liked Necrons. He just haven't had like a good excuse to like go as full bore into them. So now he's got he's got a bit of an excuse to do that. So he's gonna be doing that for a bit. And yeah, just kind of like getting people onto like more focused armies is gonna be good for people broadly, I think. And then we got dinner as a unit after, which was cool. So just getting to do more stuff like that isn't like Anthony, claws out his eyes while doing too much of the Team USA organizing is good. I'm looking forward to that this year. So yeah, that was my weekend. It was good. How about you, Jeremy?
Yeah, I was doing pretty well up until about yesterday when my wife tested positive for COVID. So I'm starting to feel sick, and so if I disappear midway through the call, that's why.
Oh no!
But in the meantime, rats are kind of cool.
Rats are kind of cool.
Yeah.
Science
and
rats
so-
in particular, who kind of blow themselves up occasionally, are the best.
Yeah, I've just been. I got a copy of Skaven Tide, so I've just been hobbying up the Skaven half of it and enjoying a nice little palate cleanser for the hobby while I also finish hobbying up my army for Champs Cup. So, yeah, it's pretty chill. Mine. I was supposed to start a new job today, but we decided to push it back given everything.
Yeah, Novid.
Yeah, I just messaged my boss yesterday. It's like, I'm not feeling great, and my wife has tested positive, and she's really not good.
Do with that
How-
information what you will.
Yeah, what would you like to do? And he was just like,
How's next week?
come in next week. And I went, so I'm feeling kind of, it's always the fun thing of person below me is sick. Am I sick? Or is it just my body telling me that I need time to sleep more?
It can be both.
It is probably both.
Yeah.
True.
How about yourself, Innes? What have you been up
Yeah.
to?
I've had a busy week in a few general senses. First one was the Team Scotland captaincy vote happened last week, and I did not win, which means I will not be the Team Scotland captain this year, which is a very different thing from my last 4 years. So I've got a lot more free time to myself to focus on, playing singles. So I decided to focus on myself and go and play some singles. So I took GSC to a major down in England, the Hellstorm All Stars. It was 86 players, 6 rounds with a top cut for the 7th round, and I decided to win all 7 of my games, which was pretty good fun. Do enjoy a bit of GSC, pulling them out of the. Well, I mean, I stole Eric's list, frankly.
That's
And
the time-honored tradition of how one wins.
More
with
than
GSP.
happy. But my favorite thing is that it's obviously Innes' list on the internet now, because nobody knows who Eric is.
Oh,
and the fact that he
no.
played this list 4 months ago means literally nothing to the internet. Sorry, Eric, you need better advertising.
Yeah, get interneted, Eric.
Yeah, I changed one data sheet, so it's obviously a different list. So yeah, that was good fun. I played an Outlander Claw list. I played 7 awesome games. I think the last 2.5 of them are on stream on Hellstorm Wargaming on YouTube. The game I played with Orcs and the game I played with Space Wolves Wolf Jail are both on stream fully. And then I think the first 2 hours ish of my game with Sisters in the final is on stream. But unfortunately, because the day was 4 games long, YouTube streams cut at 12 hours. So the last half hour or so is missing, which is sucks to suck. Nobody has to see me have 3 models left and try to figure out how to score over a secret mission. But it turns out that was fine and very easily doable. And I'd actually won before I did anything on my last turn.
It was
And
super
just
funny
stopped.
watching that.
Yeah,
I was
like,
just sitting there like, you won. Just stop moving. What are you doing? And literally just like me doing this at the screen, like at my downstairs TV, being like, stop moving before you figure out how to lose. Like, it was funny.
I was like, I really wanted to stop the secret mission. So, like, that Ridge Runner had been such a hero. I was just like, you just deserve the shot at getting the secret mission stop as well. For context, the Ridge Runner hit a 12-inch charge to score Storm Hostile on turn 4, and then lived through reactive moved away from Dominions shooting it into line of sight of a Castigator that couldn't move, so it couldn't like walk into range of it. The Castigator failed to kill me, and then if I just rolled the charge to the Dominions, it took the objective. I stopped the skirmish as well, and I rolled a double 1 into like a 3 on my charge.
Yeah.
Just stood there. I was like, I hope that doesn't cost me anything.
I love the dude to imagine the dude on that Ridge Runner like, fuck, just the whole game, just, oh god.
Yeah, that's the only time my Mortar Returner left my home objective all weekend. So that guy was
He
just
got
like,
bored.
This is why he actually was driving, and he's like, "This is why I never leave home base." While like desperately trying to Tokyo drift around a corner
He was
away.
out there like me every time I leave my house and I'm reminded that I'm an indoor cat.
Shout out to his 5 damage tank shock on the Seraphim squad though.
Dude, that was
Oh
sick.
my gosh.
I actually yelled when that happened. I threw the remote that I was holding. I was like, ah!
Yeah, I think that turn was the turn I rolled like 7 6s to wound on 14 dice onto the immolator to kill it into the I was just like, okay, this makes up for all the failed ambush rolls.
Yeah, that's true. There was not a lot of dudes coming back in that last game.
No, it was really good fun. I think I played 7 games. I'll be doing the tournament report format that I did for War Masters. I'll be going through all of them. I even have deployment pictures from my first 3 of my first 4 games. I have a mid-turn 1 picture from one of them because the person I drove down with shouted at me, Innes, remember to take a deployment picture as I was midway through doing my scout moves. I was like, yes, you're right.
Yes, that is a thing I need to do.
And then I will take screenshots from the stream for the other 3 because I did not take those. But I played against, in order, Thai Retaliation Cadre. Oh, this is going to challenge me. 18 Bulgarian Guard. Drakari MSU Sky Splinter with double Void Raven.
Naturally, you lost that one, right? Because that's the best army in the game.
Best army in the game. 4 Catan and a Monolith, which went second, of course, because I haven't gone first against Hypercrypt since. I actually don't know if I've ever gone second against Hypercrypt.
I don't think I have either, by the way.
No, I think it's just like hard coded.
Yeah, every time it happens, the Necron player is always like, "Damn, dude, I gotta go second against World Eaters." I'm like, "Shut up! Shut all the way up! Fuck you!"
I then played against Green Tide Orcs, played by Courtney Rhodes, one of the Team England guys. I then played against Wolf Jail, and then it's Wolf Prison. I'm not sure it gets all the way to jail with only 2 bricks. And then Bringers of Flame County.
Wolf Holding Cell.
Yeah. Wolf Drunk Bin.
I think the game against Orcs was really awesome. I had a really good time with that one. We got to show off some cool combat stuff. The game against Wolves was a little less interesting. It was a lot of die slowly in front of them, but I hope it was still a good game to watch. And then, unfortunately, you can't watch the full Sisters game, but it was a good time. I did win a giant check and £500. There is a picture of it floating about. Fortunately, I did break the giant check. I snapped it when I was flopping it about. So I am gluing. It's currently gluing back together, so I don't have it to show.
I was going to use a picture as our thumbnail for this episode, but I was told it might get us demonetized.
I think
I'm not.
We can flash it up, but I don't think we should show. We should make it the thumbnail.
That is a Discord only.
Yeah, that's a Discord. It is currently the header of the Discord.
This is a
Oh my god, it is.
This is a Patreon Discord bonus. Is you can get access to the check picture.
You could also see it on my Twitter or on Mikey's stream from yesterday.
No, we got to drive people to the Patreon.
But patreon.com/statcheck, and you could get full access. I'll take the uncensored version on for Patreon. If we get 100 new subscribers in the next 2 days.
What you do is if that happens, you put it down on the $15 tier channel.
Yeah, that's true. 100 people in the
$15 tier.
Yeah, $115 tier. Like it's not going to be like, but uncensored more than it is. I think we can do.
Okay. All right. That's fair
enough.
Wow. No one needs to see the full. Yeah, but
no, nobody needs. This.
I guess we'll see.
Since you broke it did you break it like completely in half?
No, it's like it breaks like through my name on the left hand side. I was holding it by one side and swabbing it. Like this, and then it went because it's just like particle board, like plaster.
Yeah. I was thinking if it's in half, we could turn it into a sandwich board, and that could be the only thing you're wearing.
Like one of those preachers about the end of times.
I was more thinking about like the actual like sandwich.
You could use the broken bit as a sensor bar. There we go.
Oh my
there
God,
you
that's
go.
So funny.
Okay, let's hope that this doesn't happen because I don't want to have to take this.
Let's go over to the stats section of the stat show.
Yeah, if you want to hear more about it, check out the YouTube on. I'm gonna say Friday, and I'm gonna regret it, but I am aiming to record it during the day on Friday.
Impressive.
I hope.
We'll find out.
Let's roll on. Jeremy, have you updated the ELO yet?
No.
Yo, we leave for champs in like 2 weeks tomorrow, bro. That's crazy.
Yeah, I go to Brian's
week tomorrow.
Yeah, 2 weeks tomorrow, and then fly 2 weeks on Thursday.
Yeah, no,
I committed to go coach too early. I made a terrible error in judgment.
You're flying on Thursday? Doesn't that mean you're gonna land at some fucking? Oh no, you gain
No,
time
I
going the other
gain
way.
time. Yeah,
Everything's
my
he
fine.
flight's
leaves
at like
before
1
us
p.m.
and-
Thursday.
Yeah,
I land
it's
at like 6 p.m.
There was a half second there where I was like, wait.
I will be there Thursday night to
Yeah.
have fun times with Liam at our Airbnb. That's
Yep.
the primary purpose.
And you're landing at around the same time in Dallas as I am, so you can just ride in with the car that I've got.
Sweet. I will probably like actually put like my flight times in the channel at some point. Be like, this
I'm
is
going
what
to
I'm
ask
gonna do.
everyone to do that, just
Yeah.
like John.
No.
Look,
Still hasn't given me his flight details.
planning is overrated.
Sure.
100%.
Ethan, what would we like to look at for the stats?
We're gonna look at this week, and then I'm gonna pull up the entirety of Pariah, and then I'm gonna read through it so we can see if there's a problem,
Oh.
and then everybody can tell me if they think there's a problem, and then if somebody doesn't tell me that they also think there's a problem, we're gonna have a problem. But for this last week in stats, our top performing faction was the one lone Death Watch player. by
Well done,
win
Mark
rate,
Artel.
with a
You had 6-2 at Nova.
The Hurt Locker, baby. Get him.
75% win rate. But no top fours or top tens or event wins. Just a 75% win rate in a dream. That ends very soon with the Agents of Imperium being used at tournaments. In second, and actually first place because they had just more than 10 players, is Drukari with 24 players, 3% of the meta, and a 64.1% win rate. But not closing out events with 0 event wins this week, 0 top fours, and 9 top tens for
I'm
a 0
fucking
over.
shocked they didn't win any events. What?
No, dude, they're really good.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Sisters of Battle are in third place, 47 players, 5.8% of the meta, a 61.8% win rate, 4 event wins, which is the most of the weekend, 7 top fours, 12 top tens, and a 2.8 over rep, which is just casual Harlequin-esque numbers.
No,
there
it's
were 10
not.
events this
Okay,
weekend. They
so
won 4 of those.
I was just gonna
We're in Eldari territory right now.
Yeah, I was just gonna make a joke about this because, like, my mind, like, the over-rep number, I'm sure, like, at 2.8 is really high. But I am just, like, permanently broken from that one time that we did this, and the Harlequins were at 7.8. And it was just like, what is happening? So, like, every time we say an over-rep number, that's, like, completely ridiculous. Even earlier in the edition when Eldar was, like, 5 or some shit, I was like, oh, that's not that bad. Like, Harlequins,
Yeah, I think
we
was
were
the Goonhammer
definitely
Showdown. Sorry.
scarred by starting out in that period.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, for sure.
That is 40%, by the way, of the events from the weekend, because it's 4 out of the 10 events that happened over the weekend were won by sisters.
I was looking at the Goonhammer stats. It was like 1 in 3 events had, like, 1 in 3 of the top 2s for showdowns were sisters, and 1/2 of them were won by. So it's like ridiculous.
Yep.
Too
Not
much.
to be disregarded are Thousand Sons. Nobody else, by the way, from this weekend has more than 1 event win. It's just sisters who have more than 1. Thousand Sons are in technical third place at 34 players, 4.2% meta representation, a 61.2% win rate, 2 top fours, 6 top tens, and a 1.11 over rep. So just not quite closing out events. Then we have Space Wolves, 23 players, 2.8% of the meta at a 57.6% win rate. 2 top fours, 7 top tens, and a 1.64 for overrep. And then rounding out the top 5 is Necrons, 52 players, 6.4% of the meta, and a 55.3% win rate. 1 top 4, 8 top tens, and a 0.36 for overrep because they only managed to shove 1 person to the top 4, despite being one of the most represented factions from the weekend. On the bottom, we have Space Marines, 38 players, 4.7% of the meta, and a casual 35.4% win rate. That's not good, guys. Still managed a top 4, which is also their top 10, for a 0.5 overrep, so kudos. And then Black Templar, second to last, 19 players, 2.3% meta representation, and a 39% win rate with no placements to speak of. Third from the bottom is Custodes with a 40.1% win rate. Also no placements to speak of. Chaos Knights at 43% win rate, 1 top 4 and 2 top 10s for a 1.57 because they made up a grant 1.5% of the meta. Gene Stealer Colts rounding out the bottom 5 with a 43.5% win rate. The one event win, which is Innis.
That's with just a 7-0 shoved in there.
Yeah.
Still just garbage.
That's with the 7-0 shoved in there. And if you take Innis out, it drops them.
That's for the last 2 weeks. I'll give you the actual number in a second.
Okay. For the last 2 weeks, it drops them by like 3% in their win rate. It's going to drop them by more than that, probably.
It drops them almost 6%.
So it actually drops them to the second to last.
They fall
place.
to below Black Templars, but above Space Marines.
Below Black Templars? How low is Black
right.
Templars?
Sorry. Spoilers.
Black Templars are a 39.6% win rate. Did you just tune out me saying that?
I must have just assumed you were talking about Death Guard is what happened. My brain heard you say that and just cruised right past it. Was like, there's no fucking way that's what he meant.
Yeah.
He must have misspoke.
39.6% and no placements.
Y'all need to reach out to Olivier. Figure it out.
Yep. The other event winners from the week are, as soon as I pull them up, are Astra Militarum, Eldari, Chaos Space Marines, Tyranids, World Eaters, and Gene Stealer Colts, who I mentioned, other than Sisters, who had the 4 event wins. And now I'm going to open up a tidal wave of pain by going back to July 7th. The first weekend of full Pariah Nexus. Yeah, it's actually quite a bit of data now. It's basically 2 months of data.
Last week.
Yeah.
We didn't do stats. We should do more stats.
Yeah, we were just like, man.
And
to be fair,
so I'm going to give you 3. So I'm going to give you 3 guesses about how many GT wins Sisters have.
Start off with how many GTs have there been since that time?
Fine. I guess
9. Would be my guess. That seems high, but not unreasonably so.
14. So there have been 93 events.
15.
Ooh.
Still too low, Anthony, at 15.
18?
A little too high now.
Oh, I was going to say 20.
So it's 16 or 17.
It's 16. It's 16 GT wins. So they have 16 of the 93. That is the same amount as Thousand Sons and Drukhari put together from an event wins perspective. And those are the other 2 factions in the top 3.
One of those armies is even good.
Mm-hmm. So Drukhari are in second place with 9 event wins. But in first place in overall win rate, they have they've had 167 players play at, which is 2.6% of the meta so far in Pariah Nexus, for a 58.8% win rate. They have won 9 events. They have 18 top 4s, 47 top 10s, and a 1.82 over rep. Thousand Sons are in second place by win rate with 257 players, a 4% meta representation, a 57.6% win rate, 7 event wins, 24 top 4s, and 57 top 10s for a 1.57. And then Sisters by win rate are in third, 310 players, 4.9% of the meta, a 56.8% win rate, 16 event wins, 36 top 4s, 65 top 10s, and a 1.96 over rep, which is the highest at this point in this data slate, basically. That might, just kind of sort of indicate that there is perhaps maybe a little bit of a problem. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe everything's fine. Maybe I'm just wrong in thinking that one faction having almost 20% of the event wins so far this point to Pariah Nexus is bad.
Maybe problematic. What was the thing we said? That we weren't sure if any faction would catch in 10th edition the amount that Eldar had in the first 6 months, which was
you had to beat 50, which I did look when we started this conversations. Necrons are at a clean 50 right now.
So we were very wrong. Necrons were just as fucked.
Well, to be fair, it was difficult to see coming how fucked up Necrons were going to be.
That is true. And where are Sisters at the moment?
Sisters are...
So we're only 2 months in, so they have 4 more months in theory. But
Sisters are at 23.
No, we were like, we didn't think in the edition another army would catch.
Oh,
yeah.
they're 23.
So as it stands right now, by total event wins, not including the last 2 weeks, Eldari heads have 76, Necrons have 50, CSM have 36. Sisters, however, are now they're at 23 before the last 2 weeks. They got another 7 wins in the last 2 weeks.
They're up to 30.
So they're already up to 30. They've already caught up to Orcs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Orcs aren't going to be adding to that number anytime soon.
Cool.
Correct.
Who knows what comes this month?
You never know.
That's true. People do win events with Drukhari, and I
They've
don't know
also
how
just
that
announced the
happens,
Eldar
so-
book, so who knows what new horrors that will bring us.
Oh no! Why would you bring that up? Just let it go. Just let it.
Just
Let
looking
there.
forward to the first person to win with Imperial Agent, so there isn't a 0 when you look at the edition.
I like that there's factions that have less wins than I do. So
There are. So the
Fair
worst
few, I
performing, the worst performing faction of Pariah Nexus so far is Gene Stealer Cults. 79 players, 1.2% meta representation, a 40% win rate, 40.2. 2 event wins, one of which is present here in this.
the other one is
channel.
Eric.
The other one is Eric Lathuris. But 1.07 overrep, so it's just fine. Everything's fine. It's okay.
That's perfectly
What happens if you
balanced.
remove him and Eric?
Don't do that.
Now,
if you do,
the good news is
if you do
all
that,
that
it's
does
bad.
is crater their overrep. It doesn't change their win rate that much because that's just 2 events.
That's true.
Correct. I mean, there are only 79 players, so 2 people is actually not an insubstantial
we're
number
like
of
over
people
2%
being
of their
removed from a
total
win rate
gameplay.
perspective.
Oh, guys, GSC aren't that bad. I promise you. Just hordes of MSU bullshit.
But it's only going to be like a couple percentage points.
Very high floor.
Maybe
for
one.
how
Drops them
bad
by,
it can
it
be.
drops their win rate by two whole percentage points to 38%.
Yeah. Which makes them even more the worst. That's
Yes.
great. They're just more bad. Congratulations. There are several factions that haven't won events. Everybody else has at least won one. Orcs haven't won anything in Pariah. Custodes haven't won anything in Pariah. Leagues of Votan haven't won anything in Pariah, and Imperial Knights haven't won anything in Pariah so far.
Sweet.
That's what I've got.
Yep.
Even I have 2. Come on, guys. What are you doing? Your entire faction's
You are
cascading
doing-
together.
Innis
Innis by-
has won as many GTs this because you've won 2 now
so far. Yeah.
in Pariah. Because
That means
that you
Innis
have won.
has won more than half, or at least as much as half of the field of factions.
He has won as many or more than Grey Knights, Chaos Demons, Black Templars, AdMech, Tyranids, Space Marines, Codex compliant, Gene Steel Calls, Deathwatch, Chaos Knights, Imperial Knights, Leagues of Votan, Custodes, and Orcs.
I'm lying. I have 3. I won one with Tyranids as well.
Oh,
Oh,
so we
man.
can also add to the pile Death Guard, Tau, and Dark Angels. One of
Dark
which you are-
Angels.
Yeah, Dark Angel.
And I'm one of the Dark Angels.
Yep.
Yep.
Rounding out
Great.
the
I'm
bottom
loving this
5,
pack.
just running out the bottom 5, and then we'll talk through the rest of the top 5 real quick, I guess, as well. Space Marines at a 41.3% win rate, 2 event wins, 10 top 4s, and 27 top 10s. Orcs, 3.7% of the meta, 42.4%. No event wins, as we just mentioned, 8 top 4s, 15 top 10s. Chaos Knights with 1 event win and a 45.4% win rate. And then Chaos Space Marines at 45.7% win rate, 8 event wins, 24 top 4s, and 48 top 10s, and a 1.07. So within the balance range and doing just fine. Running up the top 5 because we got through Sisters of Battle. We have Space Wolves at a 55.3% win rate, 5 event wins, 15 top 4s, 32 top 10s, and a 1.37 for overrep. And then World Eaters are the last faction in the top 5 with a 4.9% meta representation, 53.2% rate, 6 event wins, 19 top 4s, top 10s, and a 1.03. Did we lose me?
For like 2 seconds.
You're back.
I can still hear you guys. Can you hear me?
We can hear
Okay.
you.
All I was saying is that World Eaters are in the 5th position
I can't
in the
believe
top
Anthony
5
is
of
such a
performing
bandwagoner playing
factions.
such a broken faction.
And then Blood Angels are right below them at a 52.9% win rate. So just 0.3% win rate off. Yep. That's kind of it. I don't know. Meta's very top heavy at the moment, with Sisters being the toppest of heaviest of the meta. That's kind of it. That's kind of what there is to say. Hopefully the data slate comes in and, despite the fact that Sisters got big points increases at debut. Are probably going to need big points increases again, or something else. I don't
I'm
know.
sure like 25 points of Seraphim is fair, right?
Just take
Yeah,
assault.
definitely. Only +1 strength within 12 inches. No more assault on everything. Fair.
Make them play with the boarding action rules, so all their movement is capped at 9,
God damn.
and
Yeah,
flight
time
doesn't
to
work.
attack and shoot it.
I don't know. I'm sure there are lots of things to do.
I'm sorry. Thankfully, none of that's our job. We just point
Yep.
out the problems.
That's true.
Fortunately, I'm just here to shout into the void about how things are sometimes terrible for some factions, and y'all can do with it what
Sometimes
you
the
want.
void shouts back.
I love that every time we have the like, if you can't be balanced, you get to be bad thing. It like applies to most factions, just not Thousand Suns.
Look,
Yes.
the Thousand Sun changes were subtle but significant.
Uh huh.
And
Is this the new one? Strong, not dominant, subtle
Yeah.
but
Damn it.
significant.
Yeah.
Who made that comment?
That was
Brian.
Brian.
Brian Sipe. That's
Mm.
why it was one of his shirt names at WTC.
Correct.
That makes sense. Love you, Brian.
Sisters is like a similar problem. Sisters just need like massive rules changes, but we're not going to get that in this patch. So I hope everyone's excited for their 400-point triumph.
I hope they get capped at 6 miracle dice a game.
Maybe
Yeah, fuck
you know,
'em.
Maybe they do get rules changes. Maybe they do decide that they can't find a way to fix it with points without like making a Sisters Army 10 models.
That would be tight, but also then just stop telling us that you're not going to change rules every 3 months. Just accept that you're
I
doing
mean,
that.
we got
let it be
rules
okay.
changes at the beginning of August that we didn't know were happening. So
I understand, but maybe just change your messaging then and just let it be
Yeah.
okay for those things to change as often as they need to.
Yeah, it's just
That
that
gonna
would,
be a
that would
small
require
amount of
consistent
space
messaging
breaks.
from Warcom. So
I mean, we saw what happened with the roadmap, so let's not get too excited at the
Dude, that shit is
Oh,
so
guys.
good.
oh no.
Blood Angel Codex in December, by the way.
Yeah, at least we know the meta that we're gonna be playing with at Worlds, right?
Worlds? Worlds was in
What?
August, Brody.
Singles Worlds, you know what I mean.
What? I
The
don't know
world
what that is.
Never mind. Yeah.
Worlds is I mean, singles worlds is in Dallas, right? That's the individual individual world championships is where you can play for anybody. We have
That's
national
right.
worlds and single worlds where
Uh-huh.
anybody can be with anybody.
Mhm. I don't know. It's the definition of the here be monsters kind of approach to road mapping.
Yeah.
There
Stuff
is
to be
something.
excited about. I love
Over there.
My favorite part of that roadmap was like special chaos treats or whatever the fuck it said. That was so good. It was just like
The best part
which-
about that, though, was that they didn't even announce the Imperial Knights Codex as part of the thing, and then the roadmap comes out. Oh, by the way, Imperial Knights is here, and Chaos is after that.
Eventually.
You gotta go.
Special chaos treats is normally what I think of like when Anthony drops into the World Eaters channel and just like, don't change your list again. That's a special chaos treat in my head.
It is. The
Take those
special
Forge Fiends
chaos. Stop trying to shove Forge Fiends into your lists,
Oh,
everybody.
God.
Stop playing Terminators.
All right. Now that we've talked about how sisters have made everything terrible, or
I
you
don't
know,
mean everything terrible.
Pickle.
I do
They
think
have
sisters are the
too far.
fairest, best army we've had in a while, and that it does feel like you can beat them by like
Yeah,
you
but
know having a
it
it
plan
can
for it.
still be better.
it's the least dominant of the strong, not yet dominant factions that we've had.
I don't know, dude. I thought about playing some Bringers of Flame the other day, like what that must be like, into some people that are just like not very good at screening or checking angles, and I'm sure that is just
I could say even people that are good at checking angles still underestimate sisters because they like 21 inches without a roll
It's
is
a
a
lot.
drug.
Yeah, I simply engage in the principle of I will simply not do anything. I will be where I want to be. It is between you and God to figure out how to kill me. And
guess-
that's worked a lot better.
This is maybe a good moment to stop and kind of talk
Pickles.
about the things to watch. Let's smash heads together and say what are the things to watch out for when playing against Bringers of Flames lists, you bunch of numpties.
No, Pickles is quite happy back there. I think that's
Maybe-
the star of the show.
30
Pickles,
seconds
would you
of
like to balance Warhammer?
she
Oh my
can't do much
gosh.
worse.
um
Look at her.
but yeah.
See?
What is the thing? What should oh my god, Pickles. Everybody needs a life as simple as a house cat's, is the truth of the matter, where you can just be like, I'm going to climb into this bag and life is going to be okay.
Yeah, it's going pretty good.
You don't got to worry about bringers of flames advancing across the field at you and then firing Melta at various
No, that
angles
never
like
happens to
that.
her. That's never happened to her once.
Exactly.
Yeah, she's the Bio Titan. She just overwatches it to death.
Pickles
Yeah.
dispenses the miracle dice that sisters players use.
That's right.
No, she eats the miracle dice off of the sisters players table, so she can't use them.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
All right. How about we do talk some anti-sisters tech, though, as long as we're around here? Like what things you can watch out for and what you might be able to do from a general play style to like deal with it.
Well, if this is any indication, Overwatch with a
Overwatch with
truck and
flamers,
see what
they do not
happens.
enjoy. Yeah, just Overwatch anytime anything twitches and hope for the best. Keller morphs do prevent them from advancing you quite well. I don't have much else. Everything that he ever shot died instantly. So
Yeah.
It was the battle of T3 armies, and it turns out he had an armor save and you didn't.
At one point, the dude lines up like 3 units in the middle, and Ennis just removes like a table quarter. He's just like, don't even roll it. It's fine. And it's just like, oh, this is dead. He literally leans down with both his arms like this, and it's just like, goodbye, fellas. Let's roll some get backs. Oh, none of them worked. All right, see you later.
it's like a squad of Volgods looking at a bike squad, and I'm like, you guys have a 5-up armor save. What are we doing?
This squad's about to 100% annihilate you just by looking at you funny.
Voltor's gonna kill this squad. What are we doing?
Why are we having this conversation?
I was almost tempted to make him roll it just to make sure he had to like snipe it to get Vol the kill, but I was not willing to make him do that at 9 p.m. I was like, no, dude, just have the dice.
Yeah.
So like the main thing that sisters struggle with is they don't have a lot of physical units, right? They have quite a lot of stuff that's really good at killing individual things, and they can do quite a lot of buff stacking. You know, you can put like the +1 AP and the ignore cover from the emulator and the castigator, and then you can kind of like really sink damage into a thing. But they don't have a lot of activations outside of like a couple of specific things, like Seraphim Squad split firing, which does require quite a bit of aggression and can often end up putting them in quite awkward situations, and like getting into combat with Vol and things like that. You know, as far as things that are going to kill like 10 dudes, there's only a couple things in the list that comfortably do that, and if you can keep them safe or prioritize keeping them away from them, it can be quite hard for sisters to kill a lot of things in a turn. They kind of have a few big activations and that's it. So you can try to overwhelm them if you go after their little pieces quite aggressively. You know, pick up the little Dominion squads. You know, try to like play away from Vol if they're playing Vol, and like prioritize staying away from the Seraphim. There is a decent amount of room in there for like, yeah, Vol can kill one squad of shitters a turn, but that's it if that's all she's getting in front of. Whereas if you try to stand, you know, a Land Raider in front of Vol, well, then they're gonna kill it, and they're gonna make like a significantly better trades. So leading away from things like that can be quite good, and that's why we see some things like, you know, sisters struggle with things like the curse word list, because it's just a bunch of stuff that they don't really deal with very well because they don't have amazing combat and they only really get like one activation into it, but it's, you know, like a big bricky activation. It's not a you know, you fire 8 multi-metal shots at it and it's going to lose 5 dudes, but then it's going to be in combat again and now you're not dealing with it, where like they only really have the one squad of Seraphim that can do that. So that's kind of one way to look at it, and that's why I think we're seeing things like Accursed Cultists, Black Templars kind of prep up in the metagame. You've got don't interact with them at all. Things like Thousand Suns, double moving out, double do bolting, and then running away is a pain in the ass for sisters because they're reasonably fair in the fact that they do have to be in line of sight of you to kill you outside of exorcists. Calling it fair feels insulting to the concept of fairness, but it is true that sisters do have to be able to see you to kill you.
They play
mostly
honest Warhammer. They don't play fair Warhammer.
Yeah, they're not very fair Space Marines.
Disagree.
I'll disagree then, Anthony. You're allowed to talk in this bit.
But they're so fast that them being fair is like, yeah, they don't have like if there is a wall between you two at the end of their movement, they can't shoot you. Sure, but if there's like 3 or 4 walls even between you two at the start of their movement, that doesn't super matter most of the time. Like, especially if they're stood near the Triumph, they're just gonna yeet and murder you.
Yes.
I don't know. Like,
yeah, and the like, obviously they're very fast. The one benefit of that is that at least you know that it's going to be in line of sight back, unless it's Seraphim. And that is like the interaction point of fairness with sisters, is that you can try to hit them back. It is on you to make it count, because they are going to be very good at blocking individual high damage shots like glass cannons and things like that with miracle dice. But you are going to get an interaction point with sisters. It's up to you to make the most of it and to make sure you build a list that can do that. And if you didn't, well, that's on you. But yeah, don't look at what Vic played this weekend. Monster.
I noticed that he wasn't at your event, so
Well, he was on stream at Glasshammer, so you could see his games with Ben Jones and an Imperial Knights player in the final, I believe, which I can't imagine was a particularly close game.
that sounds pretty cursed for the Knights.
Vic, you're a monster. Look forward to hearing about it on Fireside. Any thoughts from Jeremy?
I kind of agree with what you're saying. The biggest thing that I've found for playing against sisters, because I haven't actually played as sisters since the new book came out, because my sisters have been on the shelf, because in WTC prep that was Riley. But yeah, from all of the practice games into them, it almost always comes down to if you can either overload them with garbage units that take multiple activations to deal with, then you'll at least live long enough to score points and give them a bit of trouble. And if you can shove onto objectives such that they're not able to, score primary, you might have a chance, but then also secret missions exist. So,
Yay!
Hope you go second.
Missions doesn't even help apparently.
Hope you go second, and hope you're still present when the sisters are trying to score it.
Details.
Yeah, huh?
Just have unit recursion. Do you guys not do that?
Apparently you don't.
I got just enough.
50%
The
of
Space
the time
Wolf
it
game was
happens
probably
every
the worst watching that on stream, where just everything came back.
That's average.
Do you want to talk a little? Do you want to talk a little bit about your tournament, Innes?
No, I'm gonna save it for the thing because I don't want to overload people with the same content twice.
Yeah,
GSC
fair.
are really cool.
Breakdowns are also really nice. So
GSC are really cool and definitely more viable than it looks. I know there were a few people playing about with some like Host of Ascension and Biosanctity Brood Search lists and doing reasonably well with them. I know Gabe C from, I forget what it's called. I'm so sorry, Gabe. The Hive Mind podcast about Gene Star cults went 4-3 with them at Nova, but off of a 3-0 start. So like, there's definitely some power in there. I think they're fairly underexplored and not super obviously popular. They've always been a fairly low play rate army, even when they were, like Eldar level broken. There was not a ton of people playing them comparatively to other armies of that power level. But if you've got the stuff sitting around, give them a shot. Just try it. It's really good fun. The amount of shenanigans you can pull off with that army, and having I went first 5 of my 7 games at the weekend, which is kind of brutal in Pariah Nexus, but the amount of scout pressure that list has between the 2 bite squads and the 2 returner squads actually really helps with like shoring up that kind of general Pariah Nexus weakness, where you feel like, okay, I'm going first, cool, I have a game plan for when I do it, which is go first, sticky all the middle objectives, and then scout forward a bunch of ridge runners, pressure my opponent, force them into very defensive deployment positions so they can't capitalize on going first themselves, and then kind of win either way. And that was, super enjoyable. I really liked being able to. You saw it in the Orc game on stream, where I just scouted forward, stickied all 3 middle objectives with 2 squads of bikes, and then full retreated backwards when he didn't wah. I was like, all right, I'm just going to sit out of ranges of you and prod you in your deployment zone. Good luck. My favorite. That's all I got. Otherwise, go check out the video on probably Friday. If I keep saying Friday, it'll be Friday.
Yeah, on Friday, maybe.
Put the energy.
Friday.
If you keep putting the energy into the world, it will happen.
Exactly.
It's true.
Right. No, I'm not saying what time zone Friday. It might be Friday 11:59 p.m. for like the west coast of the US, but
Friday.
We're gonna be Friday somewhere.
That's probably true. Oh. All right, what else is there that's vaguely on topic? Should we talk about our Champs Cup roster? What we're taking?
Let's do that.
lists are locked.
lists-
Let's talk about it.
Are lists public?
No, but who cares? No
I'm
one's
trying to
changing
help
their
them
list
get
now.
this sorted out. BCP changed something in the back end sometime in the last 3 weeks.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's great. You used to be able to do a roster export, which gave you all the lists in a CSV format.
Not just open the list on BCP.
they're not actually live because lists aren't supposed to be live until the 6th, but they wanted to give them to the captains early for list checking.
Just put them live and then have them be for
Yeah,
list check. It seems like a very easy solve.
there's a whole discussion going on, and it's mildly frustrating.
Isn't it always? All right, what are we taking?
I don't know. I guess I should pull up our roster so we can go
Yeah,
through.
Cherie can show you all the lists because he's the captain.
It's true, I can.
Maybe I
my
go-
events.
He's the captain unless someone needs to get bullied, and then I'm the captain.
The reality is, I'm the captain because I'm just the one who does admin stuff in the background. I'm not doing parents. I'm not figuring out people's lists for them.
You did do all the list checking for ourselves, which was very
I did, but that's
kind.
because that's what I'm used to doing. It's just something I do. All right, so I'll go through our roster real quick, and then I guess the three of us will talk about our lists a little bit.
Let's do
So kicking it off, we have Mr. Anthony Violence Vanilla himself playing on World Eaters.
It's the same thing I played at WTC.
It's even called Old Reliable in your list. I'm actually just going to open these all up so I can read through the ones for the people that are not here, and I'll just skim so we're not like.
Yeah, so Anthony's list is Angron, 2 Berserker squads, and then like 3 4 8-bound squads, and 3 8-bound squads, and then some Jackals and some Spawn.
Yep,
Double Rhino.
2 rhinos. Invocatus. It's the same
So-
thing since last LGT.
Oh, that's
The
not true. You got to add
the
a unit of
Juggerlord went
Jackals.
as a farm.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, he got turned into Spawn for his failures as a shit model.
Fair.
All right, then we've got
Even more
the
appropriate.
most notable of the Canadians, Francois Lalonde. He is playing Invasion Fleet Tyranids. His list title is "I like big bugs and I cannot lie."
That's good.
He's got a Hive Tyrant with the Feel No Pain, a Narrow Tyrant with Alien Cunning, Old One Eye, 2 units of Hormagaunts, Biovore, Carnifexes to go with Old One Eye, 2 Exocrines, a Lictor, a Maliceptor, a Neurolictor, 2 Solo Pyrovores, and then 2 Tyrannifexes.
With Rupture Cannons.
The
Please.
Rapture Cannons.
Rolling double 6s on those guys against infantry is one of the most powerful feelings you can ever have
What do you mean
Fuck you,
double
Deathwing
sixes?
Knights.
Oh, yeah.
with the invasion fleet buff.
Oh,
I killed 4 Death Company with that when they ingressed in front of me.
It's much funnier to kill 4 Deathwing Knights with that. If you could pull that off, let me know.
If you kill 4 Deathwing Knights with that, I will buy you a pint.
I mean, it's the save math is different, but the damage math is the same.
Yeah, I know, but it's horrifically unlikely with the same
Yeah.
math.
I mean, it's horrifically unlikely that you kill 4 death.
Yes,
companies
I
in the
know.
first place.
All you got to do is get them to fail the save. You don't have to do
Alright.
shit once they fail the save.
1 in 36
Then we've got-
into a 69. It's horrible, man.
Yeah, it's 1 in 36 just to get the hits.
Then you
Sure.
need
After that, it drops
then
off.
you need 4 wounds on 2s, which is like
That's slightly more favorable.
It's like a 1 in 2. And then,
All right.
yeah, no, it's brutal.
Let's not do math live. It hurts all of us.
Yeah,
Now we've got
agree.
Innis Damascus Wilson playing Genestealer Cults. His list title is "You Know What It All Does," right? Well, tune into Innis's show later this week to understand exactly what it all does and see if you guys have the answers to this in your team.
3 Calibors, one of them has Data Leech, a Reductive Saboteur, 1 Acolyte squad with auto pistols, 6 Acolyte squads with flamers, 2 Neophyte squads, 3 Rock Grinders, 2 Goliath trucks, 5 Red Runners, 1 with mortar, 2 with lasers, all spotters, 2 bike squads, and I think that's it.
Yep,
That sounds
that's the
like
list.
It's 2,000 points of Outlander Claw driving in your face, Mad Max style.
Yep. For me, it's Leagues of Votan. Going back to my 10th edition roots in terms of the army that I've played the most so far. And in that style, I have definitely gone and just copied a list from WTC, and I stole William from Switzerland's WTC list, and then workshopped it with him. So it came out to being 2 Einherjar champions, one of them with an invuln, one of them with a teleport crest, 2 units of warriors, 4 Sagittars, 3 units of berserks, 5 Hearthguard, a land fort, 15 bikes, and a unit of Jaegers, because those guys are dirt cheap. Why they are 80 points, I don't know.
It's kind of insane. But
It's a very fun
go-
list. I've been
go fast and
cracking.
smash.
It's been very fun putting that back on the table over the last couple weeks. Alrighty, now the bottom half of the team, and we not the. Then we have Mr. John Lennon running Dark Angels, Gladius Task Force. It is his WTC
The
list.
bottom half of the team.
I know. I was like, I started saying that. I went, no, that's really not how I could describe this, but okay.
Yeah, notably weak player.
Yeah. Notable
We
champion
are
of the
going
hobby.
to have to shun him the entire time for not being like real stat check, though, right?
I mean, I can't believe he's not going to bring his picture of his face to the event, dude. What the fuck?
I think you have to use it as an army tray, actually.
Oh my god, that would be so funny.
We could probably ask for a copy of that photo from like Tom or Ishik, and
Ishik
then
would
put it
100%.
put it on the bottom of an army tray for John.
Oh man,
You
that'd be
could get
so
it
good.
printed at a Kinko's real easy. Let's be honest here, guys.
I could put that on a shirt for him.
Please do that.
The only
Please
thing worse
make-
than playing against John is playing against two Johns.
He's found a way to make every game a best of 3.
Yeah, that's right. That's the only way he'll lose.
Damn. All right, go through John's
Uh,
Dark Angels list.
Yeah, so the Dark Angels list, the title is Wear the Mantle of Hero, Inspire Where You Can, but remember that we are angels of death, not of mercy or salvation. He's got the Harmacist, the Apothecary Biologist that has Fire Discipline, Azrael, a Judicar, I don't know. 5 Assault Intercessors, 2 units of 5 Assault Intercessors with jump packs, 3 units of Deathwing Knights, 1 of them with swords and 2 of them with maces, an Eradicator brick, an Infiltrator squad, 6 Inner Circle Companions, a Repulsor, Calidus Assassin, and some Voidsmen.
It's a good list. S tier, according to Art of War.
Yep.
According to Art of War, it is in fact S tier.
Having been on the receiving end, I concur.
It's pretty
list-
good.
It
That list
sucks
slaps.
a lot to play against.
It's quite hard to lose with.
Why are the Voidsmen battle line?
They are. Yeah.
That doesn't usually matter, so sure,
It certainly can.
I guess.
I've watched
I
it
made
matter.
making a poor hypercrit player have to figure out how to kill the man to get the home objective or get into the deployment zone.
Yep,
Never
that
been
sounds about
difficult.
right.
No,
All
you
right.
don't have to. It's not a struggle.
6th player is Liam VSL from Team Belgium.
The bottom half
What did he
indeed.
submit? This is going to be me learning what Liam submitted.
Yeah,
It was-
trust me. I kept going back and
floundering,
forth
right?
and going, do I look at it? No, I'm just going to trust Liam. And then when he says it's good, I'll review it to make sure he hasn't missed anything.
Did
Like
he submit
forget.
Death Guard or Thousand Suns in the end?
It
He
better
did
be
submit
Thousand
Thousand
Suns.
We told him no last minute pivots.
Oh, that's fine.
So he's on Thousand Suns. His list title is Wesh Test.
Which means something, I'm sure.
Armin, Exalted on Disc, 3 Infernal Masters, 1 of them with a crystal, 1 of them with a vortex, Magnus, and then the regular Foot Sork with Lord of Forbidden Lore. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units of Rubrics, 2 Rhinos, a unit of Cultists, and a unit of Enlightened.
That sounds like every Thousand Suns list I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's no Mutalist is odd, but also it's just Rubrics everywhere.
Yeah,
Taos,
Bozeman
this
aren't
is
outlined
using
anymore, but we're using the old rules. Yeah.
Yeah, we are using the Agent's Index because the rules lock was August 9th.
Which is so long ago.
They tried to keep WTC timing, and I think that's one of the big feedbacks for Champs Cup is to tighten it up a little bit.
Yeah.
But first time running this, we'll give them their credit. Then we
Also,
have
a ton of
we
the
have someone
teams-
named Maciej Gusiek.
That was pretty good.
It's Pumbaa.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Like that's the last name's probably not right, but the front half was good.
The front half is good in the first half, bad in the
Look,
second. It's
I
okay.
have them in the front half. The list title is
Wait
the
for
French
titles.
Special. He is playing Chaos Space Marines, Renegade Raiders. It's the ACDC list. 3 units of Dark Communes, 1 of which with the Mark of the Hound, Master of Executions, Cypher, who is his warlord, 2 units of Cultists, 4 units of Legionnaires, 3 full bricks of Accursed Cultists, 3 Predator Destructors, 2 Rhinos, and a single squad of Nurglings.
That Nurgle squad is why I couldn't play 7 Greater Demons this event. Fuck you, Pumbaa.
You had
That's
the
fair.
option. You wanted to play GSC.
I'm joking.
Then we have Piotr. It's Typhus. I'm not even going to try his last name.
Come on, I was so excited.
All right. Let's try Zawilla needs Weki.
The last name was close. The middle last name was not.
Is it Zavilla?
Zaviva.
It's Aviva. Oh, the L's. Okay.
Zaviwa.
And even I probably got that wrong. I've only heard it said 1,000 times.
Yeah, that makes sense because it doesn't have the accent. I'm pretty sure that's the accented L, but BCP doesn't show
Couldn't tell
that.
ya.
Yeah. So he is playing. Surprise, surprise, Sisters of Battle. Since none of us have listed that yet. His list. He is playing Bringers of Flame, and his list title is Go Fast, Eat Ass.
Yeah, it is.
He has 2 Dialoguses, one of which has the Manual of Saint Griselda, the Triumph, 2 Immolators, 3 Castigators, 2 Dominion Squads, 3 Exorcists, a 5-strong Seraphim Squad, and a 10-strong Seraphim Squad.
Man, playing against that's gonna suck a lot for someone else.
We were playing
Not
double
us.
Exorcist for ages. It was so stupid to play against, but we ended up going with the conventional wisdom. But god damn, do I hate playing against Exorcists. I hate just sitting there knowing that if you ever fail 2 saves, you just die. It's like, doesn't matter what you're doing, just die.
Yeah.
I love the idea of the hull shooting spam Bringers of Flame with 3 Castigators and 3 Exorcists. That's so much gun. That's a lot of gun that just
And
rolls
2
around and.
Immolators.
Oh yeah, sorry, forgot the
Also just-
Immolators. That's so much gun.
He's sitting somewhere just like shivering at the idea that he would have to ever play 3 Exorcists again.
Oh, that is.
Nope. My
So what do we
part
think
about
about
it-
our comp?
It's good. I don't know, man. Everything in there is good. All of the factions make sense. The only outlier is Innis playing GSC, but like, what do we want to say? Innis is the weird person faction wise on this.
Normally that's Anthony's job. It's great to be in a different role for a change.
Yeah,
Yeah,
honestly,
Anthony's playing a top 5 army.
sure.
Stats don't lie.
I mean, I
They've
guess
been
like
good lately.
people might wonder about like no Grey Knights, perhaps, because Grey Knights are like a feature.
No guard. There's
no
a couple
guard.
question marks in our comp, but it's fine. Mostly.
Chaos
The
Demons is
second
one
you
that
try to
people have
fit
been
in
thinking
2
about.
weird
No.
people, it immediately becomes difficult to comp around that, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna have to leave something on the cutting room floor.
No
but
Chaos
yeah,
Demons is
between-
not weird. That faction sucks.
Yeah, between Volcan and GSC,
They did well
are
at WTC.
of 3 interesting factions, I would say. Notably, all 3 very heavy scout factions. Don't worry
Weird.
about it. Don't worry about that at all, guys.
What?
I promise it'll be fine.
There's nothing powerful about Scout. Not even a single thing is good about it. It's terrible. It's a terrible
Going
rule.
for
and
Doing
people
practice
terrible
games
thing.
on GW boards with going first with Jaegers, blocking infiltrators from doing anything to me has been very fun. I'm sorry,
Going-
AJ.
We'll measure the 21 for the Achilles.
Jaeger Yale. Yeah.
I really, really hope we get a round where our opponent, it's like some fucking go second mission, right? It's like linchpin. And they're like, dude, we got we got to go second in like half the games, but 3 of them are us 3. And they just get pasted by 2. And they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
got to
I
remember,
had a-
Linchpin does have that nice uncapped primary on turn 5.
Whew.
It's also uncapped on turn 2.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a good time.
Yes, you tabled
Yeah.
me, but I already scored 50 primary.
Yeah.
Also, maybe you didn't because I tabled you.
And remember,
Yeah.
indirect did get nerfed, but Exorcists got indirect compensation buffs because they lost heavy and gained +1 AP.
That's true.
Yeah, so you
They
never
used
stand still with them. You're just always driving them around.
Oh, that is
Like-
frustrating. I didn't think about that till just now. That's
Yep.
really annoying.
Yeah,
Actually.
actually got preemptive
Yeah,
compensation.
And with
buffs
the
for
other
indirect
changes, you can now
change.
make them AP4 ignore cover.
Ugh.
Look,
Stop
the
that.
Exorcist does just fine direct firing at somebody while advancing.
It's a
and
big old
doing
tank.
so. Yeah, like it's basically
Don't
just
fail
a
a
tank
saber,
with
you
a
die.
big old gun on it. Like it's okay. It's got like basically a demolisher cannon on top of it.
No, not quite that strong. It's like a souped up autocannon, more like it. Oh, it's a souped up battle cannon.
It's like
It's only
9
strength 10.
3d6, isn't it?
It's 9-3D. It's 10-3d6.
And it's
D6 plus 2 shots. That's why I'd
but
say
not-
it's a souped up battle cannon.
It's a souped
it's
up
what?
platform.
Oh, you
Yeah.
called it a souped up autocannon the first time.
Yeah,
So I
and
was
that's
like,
why I
what the
corrected
fuck?
myself. I was like, nope.
It's a
No, that's
souped
the
up
system.
battle cannon.
That's the Castigator autocannons, which for some reason are rapid fire 4 when every other of those Predator hull variants are rapid fire 2.
There's a bunch of really mad Sisters players in our chat who are
I know,
telling
it's
us
great,
to
I
shut
love
up about Exorcists. Sometimes it's strength 11. Yes, sometimes it is strength 11.
To be
When
fair-
when you danger close somebody
Yeah.
with it.
At the point the Exorcist is strength 11, you've lost. Like the game is over and you're fucked.
Or you've just jammed Angron really aggressively and he's about to take a bunch of.
That wasn't
fucking-
where he's dead anyway. If I put Angron that deep into a sister's army, that trip is one way until God says he can come back.
Very fair.
Show the prophecy is foretold and Angron comes back
Yeah.
to score secret missions on turn 5.
Yeah,
I
I
know,
did
it's
that
like-
like
I-
0 times at WTC and everyone freaked out about it. It was very
Anthony,
annoying.
I need you to understand that that was not what people were saying about your games. Is that I think the Team USA coaches were disseminating fake information that then spread like wildfire throughout all the other teams.
Oh, that's way cooler.
Because I would
I
just
like that
hear
a lot.
like, "Did you hear that Anthony? Blah blah something something." And I'm like, I go tell like two of the players that are sitting around. I'm like, "Did you hear that Anthony did something something?" And then it just spreads.
a lovely game of telephone.
Fucking psyops is real funny. I won't lie.
It's just such a strange thing to psyop about because it's like
yeah,
not even.
Ashley raises a good point. A lot of people don't realize that exorcists aren't blast.
It's true.
It's,
So they do
Which
just
is-
strength 11 you in combat, I guess. Yeah.
and they still have a hunter killer missile.
They do.
That then goes to AP. Yeah, 4. It's AP 3.
And they do also have a whole heavy bolter as well. They just do stuff.
No, they have. Oh yeah, they have 1. Sorry, I'm thinking of
Fantastic.
that.
I was like, the castigators have 3.
Yeah.
I so
If you were
badly
about-
want the castigator to just lose 2 of the heavy bolters.
I'm not gonna front. If you told me that the Exorcist had 3 heavy bolters, I would have believed you and just been upset. I would have been like, "Damn, dude, that sucks. Why?"
Why isn't everybody just taking that?
Because they're 190 points, and you could take like 5 other tanks for that. And sisters.
True. You could
No,
take all of your.
no, you
emoluments
get,
for
like-
some cost.
No, you get like 4 other tanks for that in Sisters.
Yeah. So what do we don't? We don't have
you
the
get
paragons. for
5
that?
other tanks for that in
It
Sisters.
depends on the tank. They're
No,
not
no
nearly
Vol,
the
no
same thing.
paragons.
I
No
mean,
Vol,
would you
no
have 5 of them?
paragons.
castigators are 140 or 150.
50.
Okay, so in that case, you get 4.
Immolators are.
That's what I
115.
said.
Yeah, but if you add immolators, which are tanks,
Guys, we're having a bad day when Anthony is the one who's doing the correct math on the show.
look, I said earlier, me doing math when I'm in this,
Like,
when I'm
it's-
feeling like this
it's-
is not great.
Anthony is correct about the profile of the thing for math, and then is also correct on the math.
It's
Am I
not
like to be
looking-
annoyed that immolators are toughness 9 or toughness 10 instead of toughness 9, like every other Rhino variant?
Aren't Razorbacks toughness 10?
I don't know. No one's ever played a Razorback, Jeremy.
Are
Yeah,
predators,
what?
Are predators toughness 9 or toughness 10?
I don't have the app in front of me, and I don't know where my phone went.
Predators are toughness 10. Razorbacks.
Yeah,
are
but
toughness 9.
immolators are transports, which is why I
Razorbacks
compared
are
them.
toughness
Oh,
9.
we're talking about immolators now. Okay, sorry.
Razorbacks
thought we were
are
still-
T9. So
I thought we
why
were
are
talking
immolators
about
T10?
castigators.
It's the trellis on front, the stained glass that gives it extra toughness.
That should make it less durable.
It's the blessings of the emperor that makes it more durable, bud. That's what happens.
That's what the invulnerable save represents.
No, it's both. It's both things. Something can be more than one thing in it.
That
I
doesn't
can't
sound
believe I need to
true.
have this. I can't believe I need to have this conversation in politics and now also here.
I don't know what you mean, dude. Things are only one thing. That's why England
things
is
can-
only bad.
Oh wow!
Got him.
That's
Ow.
because there are 7 things. Is that the right placement? 7th?
I don't know.
England, they're one thing.
They're one
Yeah,
thing.
why don't people play Razorbacks? That's a great question, Brian. Why don't you try them at LGT and let us know?
And let us know how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah, you could play
To be
Green Knight
fair-
Razorbacks.
Dude, if I could take Razorbacks and World Eaters, I'd be fucking all over it.
5 berserkers and like Karn
And
in a
Karns in a
Razorback?
Razorback? Let's go, baby. I get some guns. Come on, son.
Oh, actually,
All
no. Probably Coco raises a good point. Remember that? Oh no, that's the it's the Exorcist driver that has the like actual
Yeah, the
Uh,
giant.
the organ pipe for a head.
Correct.
Wow,
All right,
Razorback.
let's do
Should we
plugs.
try and have
Let's
like a nuanced adjacent discussion on like why we actually think Drukhari are bad? Or are we gonna just dodge
Yes.
that forever and just
I
let
think-
it
I
be
think you should
memes?
do it. I think we should let you do this.
Okay.
Now, preface this: singles or teams?
Yes. I don't think they're good at either. Ugh. let's start with this so that someone else can lead, and then I can give what I think is a fair response. Why are they good? Let's start there.
I suppose they're good because of
they have a specific role
Scourge,
in teams.
because of
I'm willing to
Scourge.
lead with that. They are very good at one thing in teams, and that is things that cannot deal with planes and killing the shit out of vehicles if people let you shoot at them. Void Ravens fuck your day up if you can't deal with planes. That just is true, right? If you're a 1,000 Sun army and 2 planes land on the board, a lot of rubrics are about to die. But besides that, they have a pretty limited function at the top of the game, is my experience, or where I would lead with that. I do think that Drukhari are really good when you're punching down. And this is the thing John said when they did their tier list today. Drukhari is like potentially even the best, though I would argue that World Leaders hold that role, but this is a personal experience thing. Army in the game at punching down, right? Like, when you're going down a skill bracket, there is nothing more unfair on this planet than fire and fade and getting back in your transports. Those mechanics in general are like, my opponent started with 2,000 points and ended with 2,000 points, and I'm fucking dead. What just happened? However, there's room in the conversation for it to be like, hey, this thing is really good at that, but that experience doesn't track when you're talking about, and again, this is not like a broadly applicable conversation. Like, even the Art of War tier list itself, like, that is a tier list that should be, is largely used to drive engagement, if we're being blunt, but is like a tier list written for like 30, maybe 20 people. Like, if the absolute best people are playing, that tier list is probably largely accurate, outside of a couple of things for specific things. But in general, I think that that's kind of like the thing it's talking about. And like watching people freak out and be like, Drukhari keeps winning all these things. It's like, yeah, dude, I'm sure it's winning the shit out of these 30-person events where someone's not played against them a ton or is broadly worse than their pilot. And that's like to take nothing away from the people playing these Drukhari lists. In fact, it's like a boon, right? It's like, hey, you're so good that you're able to win with this faction by punching down using your player skill expression. And that's really true. I just think that it doesn't necessarily hold up super well the higher in the ladder you climb, in my experience.
Yeah,
a lot of teams in the lead up to, WTC, some of them being the ones we were working with, Jeremy can attest to this. He was there when those games were played. Like, people tried to play Drukhari onto us, and we just kept being like, nice, dude. Anyway, 17-3 or 20-0 or whatever. And that was with some of our factions that did not do quite well. Like, yeah, there was a couple of times that like some things got bashed, but it was rep 1, and then by the time it was rep 2, that stopped happening. At the event itself, like at WTC itself, Drukhari scored a total of 0 against our team. Like, it just only did okay. Like,
yeah, and the flip side of that is my team, which was a very solid C2 team. Our highest scoring player was Drukhari.
Yeah.
But
yeah, like he was probably the shit of the Blood Angel players that didn't know it was a bad matchup, right?
Yeah, how many Blood Angel players got the fucking pantsed by Jonathan?
I think 3.
That's so many! How did it happen after the first one?
Well, because New Zealand didn't mind.
I guess. I mean, like, again, that's like a real thing. If you're like a staging, like, melee army without good fight on death access, or maybe it's like strat tied and you're about to get Archoned, and those like planes come on the board at the same time that you get hit by Incubi, you're about to have a terrible day.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe don't end up in that scenario and you'll be all right. You know what I mean?
Especially when the Drukhari player just has grinded out exactly that matchup.
Yeah. And it's a great counter for like that thing, right? And I'm in no position to speak. Like, my army literally can't play against Blood Angels if the pilot's really good. So, like, I get it. But at the same token, like, this is generally, like, again, not to, go back to what John said too much, but like, John and Jack actually both said this, like, every single time I've seen it played, it's like, oh yeah, that's pretty good. Once or twice. Oh, see,
Game one energy.
yeah, I too would shit my pants if I thought the plane was going to shoot me 6 times and then it shot me 12. That would be really scary. But yeah, like that, I think that happens a lot, and I think that people like get the wrong idea when they play against the fragile factions kind of in general, is that they look at like something like a Venom and they go like actually what probably Coco said is actually bang on. They like gaslight themselves. They're like, oh well, it doesn't get me my points back if I kill this Venom. It's like, yeah, but it turns off all their fucking rules, dude.
Yeah. As soon as you demech a Drukhari player, the game ends for them.
Yeah.
Dude, I killed one with grenade, just flat out.
Oh, that's brutal. Dude,
Oh.
Lennon and I were talking about this earlier. One Castigator split shooting 3 directions has good odds of dropping 3 Venoms. Like Hunter Killer, 3 Heavy Bolters in the Storm Bolter, auto cannon. If you have a miracle dice showing to make the Hunter Killer just kill you, you're on good odds to just be like, all 3 of you are dead. Yep. And that's before any other Gun and Sisters fires.
Hey, what if Exorcist shot them?
That's terrible. I don't want to think about that.
You're gonna have to pass a lot of 6-up saves.
Yep. So, like, I don't know. It's, again, like, not to beat the dead horse, because obviously sisters are fucked for everyone right now. But, like, in general, I feel like there's, like, a lot of, like, people... And as the person that, gets angry a lot, I don't know when this became my motif, but whatever. Like, like, there's a lot of, like, not reading the thing and then getting mad about something that doesn't make any sense. Like, it's like, yeah, well, like, these factions have so many event wins. Like, yeah, dumbass, that's not what they're making the tier list about. So, yeah. In general,
context matters on these things.
Yeah, it's hugely important. So, yeah. But as far as, like, the Drukhari specific thing goes, when, like, I or Innis or so on and so forth say Drukhari is bad, we're not saying, like, Drukhari is not a good army in general. If you go to your local, you're going to get fucking smashed every game you play. We're saying Drukhari against, like, 25 people is not going to win that game. And that generally will bear out to be true, I think. And I haven't met lots of top players that are like, nah, dude, I get beat up by Drukhari all the time. Every time I have this conversation with someone, it's like, oh yeah, dude, you just killed boats, and then they're fucked. Or if you have, like, fight on death access that isn't strat reliant or something. Like, there's a lot of ways that the Drukhari list is just like, whoop. And when the wheels come off in Drukhari, they come off hard. So those are things to watch out for. If you're punching down, you're going to own still, though. I want Drukhari to be good desperately. So badly. I miss them so much. And just not in the spot yet.
Yeah. And it was Blood Angels twice, Tau twice, Necrons once, Tyranids once, Orcs once.
Yep.
And the Tyranids was the only loss for him, which again makes sense.
Yep.
Was it Invasion Fleet?
I don't remember. It was Cheque's list. I think so.
And probably Invasion Fleet, or it wouldn't have been Crusher. Vanguard at that point.
Now I'm checking. So this is something that's kind of interesting. While you were talking about this, Anthony, I decided to dive into it a little bit and look at the ELO breakdown for Drukhari into their peers. So, like, the idea basically being where things sit with regards to, top 25% of players, top 10% of players, top 5% of players by ELO ranks. Now, ELO isn't everything when it comes to player skill, but we've shown that it's a pretty good indicator of, in a head-to-head matchup, who is favored.
Yep.
And it's actually kind of interesting. Now, the sample sizes do get really small at the end, so take everything I'm about to say with a grain of salt, but it is very interesting. So top 25% of players, they have a 55% win rate, 300 games played. Okay. Top 10% of players, they have a 57% win rate, 115 games played. Top 5%, they have a 63% win rate, 79 games played. And then when you go to the top 1%, they have dropped to a 50% win rate. Only 11 games played, though. So as we get more data, we'll get a better idea. But I think that what you've been saying is actually very true. The more experienced a player is into the matchup, the less likely it's going to go well for the Drukhari player.
Yeah, I wonder if we could drill down at that and be like, hey, is this the first or the fifth time that someone's played against Drukhari as well, and see if the win rate would change based on that?
It's challenging because, like, you could, if you were to do it at tournaments, then yes, we could look at that. But it's also like, did they go and practice did they see that so-and-so, that Tom Lowen brought Drukhari, so they practice against Tom's Drukhari list because that's their one kind of blind spot at an event.
Yeah, exactly. But it would definitely give.
But you could look at it
give
from a
indicator
tournament
for, like,
stand, and you
first.
could go, oh, he got crushed by Drukhari at the last event he went to, and then he hasn't lost to Drukhari since.
Yeah, and where this gets rough, right, is that like there'll never be good data for like the thing that, like, as an example, Art of War is talking about, because it's like they're talking about like not the 1%, they're talking about like the 0.025%. They're talking about like, again,
at
it's
this
like
point it's actually like the 0.008%, I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, we're talking about really narrow.
If you're talking
fucking
about 20
band
people,
of
we have over 26,000 in our data set
I
now.
can say that we have 7 of them on our team, but
yeah, that's true. That's like unironically accurate. That's
We
my
only have
favorite
5.
thing to do.
2 of them don't play singles.
I still got a decent elo.
I wasn't talking about you.
Oh, that's fair.
Hey, I'm gonna let anybody figure out who I was leaving off with the 7th person.
That was very funny when we did that last time. That was good.
I know, right?
No,
No, it wasn't us. Someone said it about us. They got 4 of the 5 best players in their faction.
Yeah.
How dare you?
I think it was even deeper than that. It was 7 of 8, right? It was for Eurotrash.
Yeah, it might have been.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Right.
Drukhari,
Do we
again,
want to do... Sorry.
I just don't want to like end on the note of like Drukhari are shit. They're not bad.
They're a good army.
Are
they a great army? No.
Yeah. They're great outside of the context of like, I'm gonna win this 8-round super major while beating all of the top competition at the event. They're great outside of the context of like, I'm gonna take this into WTC and play only seed 1 teams. Outside of those contexts, potentially very good. But that's kind of the meta right now. Secret missions, baby. Woohoo! 50% win rate.
All right. I'm going to very quickly do some plugs before we move on. I'm going to load them up. So prevaricate for 2 seconds.
Prevaricate. It is popping out with the $10 words today.
I can afford them.
It's true. You got that big check. Now you can afford them. Can you
afford another
49 of them? Can you actually even deposit a giant novelty check like that? I always wondered.
No, I got sent the money on.
So. If everything is actually correct on it, you could do the photo deposit.
Yeah, I'd love needing to go up to like the second story of your house in order to get the correct.
Sorry, your camera can't focus on that.
Yeah,
move a little closer to the check.
But if I get closer, the whole check doesn't fit in the camera. Zoo.
Is it the right aspect ratio? We'll never know.
I don't know.
All right,
I have this. Go for it, Ines.
Right. Well, there is a bunch of ways that you can support us, but thank you so far for being with us. We're about to go into the show questions. If you'd like to support the work we do, you can check out patreon.com/statcheck. $5 a month gets you access to our Discord, as well as all of the wonderful things that go in there, and the incredibly, incredibly terrible picture that I took of me with the check. If you would like to drop us a like, a follow, a subscription, all that good stuff on YouTube, or catch the live show if you're listening to us on the podcast, that is youtube.com/statcheck. You can catch us live at 11 p.m. every Tuesday. Not every evening. That would be a lot more than we do. Every Tuesday at 11 p.m. UK time. That is 6 p.m. Eastern for our US listeners. And then for everyone else, figure it out. Sorry. If you'd like to check out our sponsors, you can check out red-dragon.ca. StatCheck patrons will get 20% off on the entire store. They're your provider for board games, card games, and 40k stuff, and also a bunch of StatCheck merchandise. At the moment, you can find things like our new run of dice and the Pariah Nexus size tarot card sleeves, all of those wonderful, wonderful things. You can check out our sponsor Saltar Games at etsy.com. Saltar Games, they make widgets, tokens, and measuring gauges, and all those kinds of things. And I believe code StatCheck15 will get you 50% off there. You can check out Wayland Yutani for WTC style terrain, as well as I think they have GW terrain. They are based in Europe, so if you're looking to get terrain in Europe, I would check them out. Use code StatCheck5 for 5% off with your order, and as well as giving us a little bit of a kickback. And if you're looking for GW style terrain or widgets and tokens in the US, you can check out J15 Games, 10% off with code StatCheck at J15 Games on Etsy. You can check out the other shows on our network also on youtube.com/statcheck. That's End of the Matrix, X1, Take All Comers, and Champions of 40k. Continuing to produce some of the best content in 40k that isn't us. So go and check them out when you're done with us. And lastly, if you would like to get help from any of our wonderful coaches, up to and including myself, Jeremy, Pumbaa, Tyler, and Noj, check out stat-check.com/coaching or drop us an email at coaching@stat-check.com if you would like to get some help with anything you've got coming up, whether it's Champions Cup, a singles event, we're building up to LVO season, or, qualifying for UWC team. Anything in that region, a bunch of us have a ton of experience with doing that. Drop us a line. We would love to give you a hand and help you grow as players. With that, we're going to move on to questions. As always, there are two ways to get your question asked and answered on the show. One is to drop it in a super chat on the YouTube, and the other one is to be a member of our Patreon and ask it in the show question thread. So without further ado, let us roll into that. Nathan or Jeremy, kick us away.
I'm going to start with our super chats, and then we'll go into the Patreon questions. Also, a reminder for Patreons, put them in the correct show questions thread so that I don't have to dig them out of previous weeks. We're going to go through super chats, and then we will go into the Patreon Discord, and we will grab those ones as well. Thank you, Ginger Steve, for the £10 super chat, which is just Mikey told me that Innes has never won anything, that he didn't get out of a tombola, and that he paid to win by living in Scotland to avoid the Tories. Well done, lad. Enjoy the win. Mate.
Thanks, Steve.
Then Willow Weeks, thanks for the $5 Canadian. Does that make you the allest star, the most all-star? Is there a title, a belt? Will you defend next year?
I will be aiming to go back to All-Stars 3, 100%. That is the thing I'll be looking at doing. Does it make me the allest star? I think not. I think that is...
Who won the first one?
Alex Petford won the first one last year.
I think you're
he
the
beat-
allest star after you're our team's top scorer this weekend, and then you have to get a GSC tattoo when we win the event.
I will not be the top scorer this weekend. I can promise that.
So what you're saying is that if round 6 we realize that he's close, we all just...
I mean, it doesn't even matter. The tattoo bet's for us winning the event. It's the easiest tattoo bet of all time.
Yeah, but I can maybe just throw us under the bus.
You can throw you under the bus, motherfucker. You're throwing all of us.
No, I know. I'm just gonna sabotage the team by getting us really drunk on Friday night.
Good luck.
The next one is $2 super chat from Ben McJurek. Can I buy a Charity Hammer plug? I do believe Charity Hammer is this weekend, or it's coming soon.
It starts tomorrow, I think.
Yep. So Charity Hammer benefits Child's Play, which is a charity to help kids who are in hospitals to make sure that they have things. I believe it's expanded past that at this point, but you should go check out the Charity Hammer intro video, which I believe is on YouTube and Best in Tabletop Network, where they have the YouTube video that explains how they're doing it and all the coverage and stuff like that, and all the things that are involved with it as well. You should go and watch it because it benefits an amazing cause, and they keep raising money for charity. So go do that. And then the last super chat is from Tim Pinney, who continues to siphon money through us like a madman, which is just, wait, I'm a captain. Can I see lists?
No, the lists haven't actually gone up to captains. I haven't seen any of them either. I've just been trying to help the organizers work with BCP to make things work.
All right. And then we are going to go into the Discord questions. Oh my God. Stop. One of the questions is from McWhirp, which is, how many events will Sisters win this data slate? So far, it's 16. I'm sure they're going to hit like 25 before the data slate happens somehow.
We have another month at least. I would say at least another 6. Yeah.
Another month? Oh, actually, that's a good point. It was end of June, so I guess end of September.
Yeah, which
means if we're actually back on a 3-month trip.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say two a week seems reasonable.
All right. And then Tim Pinney saved one from Jason, who had put it in the wrong thread, which is, or actually just put it in the general chat because there wasn't a thread yet. Is there a viable Horde-style Orc list for singles? And if so, is it Green Tide or the Index detachment? Would you start with Team USA's list from WTC as like the template for this?
The answer to this question is, what does viable mean to you? If it means win a 5 or 6 round event, the answer to this question is no.
Right.
If the answer is throw the bash on an RTT, then just play Lucas's list.
Sam Lemon asks the next question, which is, Congrats on the win, Innis. The GSC aren't well recognized in the current meta and traditionally have been a tricksy army. What was your approach pre and during the game in highlighting important parts of your army for your opponent?
Yeah. Whenever you're playing an army like GSC, there's a pretty big degree of, hey, how well do you know what this does? And then everybody goes, not at all. And I go, okay, here's the high level stuff to not overwhelm, but I'm really sorry. I will do my best to stop you walking into stuff, but I cannot stop you from walking into anything. So, running through the scout stuff, the reroll wounds on the flamers, how the blip mechanic works, those are kind of the high points, and then kind of explaining to them just exactly how much damage retarders can do is not like a super high priority at that point. It's kind of on them to figure that out from like either the data sheets or context clues. Like I can't spend 40 minutes running you through the army. And it's definitely like the goal is to make sure that nobody's getting caught out by mechanics. If you're getting caught out by damage output because you can't put 2 and 2 together, that's kind of on you as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, there's not a lot of if you can't hear through five flamer, like 6 squads of 5 flamers with wound rerolls and hear lots of damage, like that's on you ultimately.
And then that one guy, John, asks, how do you avoid getting move blocked in your deployment zone by armies that can string out with infiltrators and stuff like that?
You kind of don't. You have like one infiltrator yourself with the saboteur or potentially pure strange insulars. You want to go that route, they can give you like a space to do it in the same way that Jaeger do. But a lot of the time you just kind of go, okay, cool, that's just stuff I get to kill early. Like the list likes using its scout move, but it doesn't need to use its scout move to get on board. You're fast enough to just do it normally. It's not too big a deal usually. Maybe if it was like Deceptors, you would be in a little bit of a terrible spot, but then you're playing against Deceptors, and unless it's Saturday, you're probably fine.
And then Chris has a question, which is, what is the best stat of the week, and why is it Innis proving that you can turn a profit via the prize money playing professional Warhammer or Dollies? Sorry.
I am not convinced I turned a profit that weekend. If you run through the models I bought for the army, the flights, the travel and the food, like obviously I would have had to eat anyway, but like I don't think I turned much of a profit.
Yeah,
It
travel,
was nice
lodging,
to win it,
and
but it
then
was not part
think of the
plan.
army itself.
Yes, well, thankfully I've had the army since 7th edition in some numbers. So, but
Dan Johnson then asks, Innis, are you actually going to cash the giant check? Please say yes, and to please take photos.
I cannot. It is not a real check. It is a novelty check.
Okay. And then Chris Polly has a question, which is, give me your best agents of the Imperium list.
Steal Lennon's from the Art of War video where he played agents on stream with Canis Rex. But broadly, it was like 3 Voidsman squad or 3 Preacher squads with Rogue Traders, 3 Subductor squads, Canis Rex, Deathwatch Veteran squad, and some Assassins.
Seems reasonable. Henry the Wizard or actually Eric Cultish has a question. Who was the top individual player at WTC? That was David Gaylord. I'm glad that you've come all the way back around to doing this.
Olivier. Oh, no. If we do it on this, because it's by
the actual metric.
It's by score, and it was Olivier. David was 2nd or 3rd. Okay. David was the highest scoring player with 7 wins. Olivier was the highest scoring player, but he did have a draw.
Fair. Henry the Wizard, finger on the pulse for factions that have recently changed significantly. Mainly Tyranids, AdMac, and recent codices. How do you think that they landed? Then would you expect any rules changes in the next update, or do you expect things to be fine-tuned with points from here on?
Oh, dude, you can't. Nids are so cheap already. It's so brutal to try to make them cheaper.
Dude, cheaper Nids would be a trip.
But like
100-point exocrines, just fuck it.
Yeah, I cannot. Every time I explain to somebody how bad the hard spec data sheet is, despite the points it is, they're like, I don't understand. And I'm like, me neither. But that thing has 18 attacks, it's toughness 11, and it costs 125 points, and it's unplayable garbage. But like, you can't make it 100.
You can. It'll still move 8 at the end of it, and people will still take lictors and exocrines instead. It's
exactly.
So I got a fix. +2 move and synapse.
Yo, that would be nuts. Don't do that.
I want +1 AP in melee in the synapse range as well.
Instead of +1 strength, or in addition?
No, in addition. I think you could do both. Like I think Nids are fine. Like they're in a medium spot right now, and you don't really need to hit them. But like it would be nice to get a little more because they still feel really low damage outside of exactly a couple of shooting profiles. And I think you could maybe there's a couple things in there. X screens definitely need to go up in points. AdMech still, I think, need more like output buff points decrease or durability buff points increase. Like they need something to just like make them less hoardy again. What was the other one that changed quite a lot this data slate? There wasn't really much else that was like
It was
really
AdMech.
significant, was it? Yeah, it was AdMech and Nids. I think Nids landed mostly fine. AdMech is still probably a little short on the points up and power up perspective and could do with a bit more on that direction. I would like X Queens to get like a secondary gun and up in points because it really sucks that they can't kill like a one scout that's near them without firing their full gun on it. Give them like the stinger salvo, like the 8 shots of strength 5 as like a spare extra gun on top of them and put them up 20 points. I would be down with that.
Right.
Let me
And then the next
interact
question-
a scout squad.
Reasonable. And then the next question is from Oliver Johnson, who's asking about what the split was across the transports for the GSC list.
It varied by matchup a decent amount because you have a ton of flexibility with stuff like that. But generally, you are looking at the 3 Rock Grinders will each have a Flamer squad in them. 2 of them will have Calormorphs. The truck will have one of the trucks will have a Flamer squad and a melee squad, and then may or may not go in reserve depending on how much you want to have like an ingress threat depending on the mission. And I'm going to use ingress threat incredibly loosely there. Having come off of playing Deathwing Knights and Death Company, but just a truck with 10 dudes in it is about as good as you're going to get as an ingress threat in this build. And it certainly was annoying when it happened. It does have like 24 OC combined, which is not bad at flipping objectives and stuff. And then, yeah, that one would sometimes go on and off the board. And then the third truck would either have another 5 flamers in it if I wanted flamers with wind rerolls, or it would have the neophyte squad in it. And that was a lot dependent on whether I wanted like sticky on my home objective or if I could afford to use the bikes for that, because the neophytes have sticky on datasheet adds to the bikes. So you're kind of, if you're needing to use the bikes aggressively, you put the neophytes on your home objective to sticky them, and then jump into a transport. And otherwise, you put the neophytes in a transport, bike sticky your home, and then like you use them a little more defensively. So there was a little bit of flexibility there. And then that one usually had a Kellermorph in it as well, trying to give 1 Kellermorph wound rerolls. If you're playing against a matchup that has like really big things that you're going to need wound rerolls, all 3 Kellermorphs go in transports. Sometimes you could put a Saboteur inside a transport. If you want like the indirect at longer range and like flexibility for getting it around, and you don't need to disembark her until later. A lot of like mix and matching there. And then sometimes you could just do like all 6 flamer squads in transports and not deep strike any of them to have maximum wound rerolls. So at that point you could have you could have 20 flamers with wound rerolls against a hard target if you really needed it. That wasn't an objective. So again, it really depends on what you're playing against.
And then Oliver's second question is also, is Anthony playing War Within? It's pretty cool.
I am not. I can't play WoW casually. It just causes me great agony, so I just am not playing it at all.
Reasonable.
I mean, that's
a
wise decision.
Yeah, I have to stay far away from it ever since Wrath of the Lich King destroyed my life. So
it's not like super crazy. I really like the game, but I just don't have time for it right now.
That's reasonable.
A lot of my friends still play like super hard by normal people standards, even if it's not by in-game standards. So
then we have Tausi, one of the people who's incapable of putting things in the correct dated thread, which is, should I lock Imperial Knights or Custodes, Triple Caladius, and Canis for the next event?
Custodes, so you don't hate yourself.
Oh, I was going to say IK.
Canis.
Nah, play IK, Alex. Alex always does really well with IK.
I guess, actually, it depends. What's the terrain for this event?
Agnostic. Alex is really good at IK.
It's reasonable. The next question is from Ben McJurk, which is, in the U.S. military, the Air Force is known to eat better than anyone else. Who eats the best among Space Marine chapters?
Yeah, for a second, I thought this was going to be a question about WTC teams, and it was easily the French. But
wait, you mean their private chef didn't make really good food for them?
Holy dude, just playing against them was tight. You got so many snacks. Who eats the best among the Space Marine chapters? Blood Angels. They're like the artsy one.
That's reasonable.
Probably, yeah. But I would actually say Ultramarines just because they have the organization.
Oh, yeah. If you want to get
like the Realm of Ultramar is actually in really good state as opposed to Ball.
Whatever.
And then the next question is another rescued one, because Bobby also can't put things in thread. I'm going to call all of you out as I do this. That's all that's going to happen.
They deserve it.
How do you handle a player who perpetually cheats at events? Like if you match up against them, how do you approach the matchup as a player who isn't that confrontational? then I think what they said is specifically this was experienced over the weekend at Edge at GT. And he kind of got bullied, is what he said, moving too far, nudging models, and rolling dice behind terrain and stuff like that.
The description that's given in the is basically just a lot of the classic bad behaviors that you see in an event. I think it's a tough one. If you're not a confrontational person, the easiest thing to do is to go to talk to a TO or a judge and say, hey, I have concerns about this player. I've heard a lot about them. This is where different events will handle things differently. If it's an event where active judging is involved, you can say, hey, do you mind just coming by our table a little bit more often and keeping an eye, because I'm concerned and I don't personally have the confidence or comfort or whatever it is to call them out when they're being an asshat. Because as much as we say players should advocate for themselves, you also shouldn't be doing so in a position where you feel uncomfortable. And that's where it's a TO's role to step in.
Yes, you should always call a TO if you need to. If you feel uncomfortable in those situations with calling out your opponent, just to if you don't feel comfortable doing it, a TO should, or a judge should, feel comfortable doing it, right?
Yep.
Otherwise, work up your confidence to be a little confrontational, and you're just going to have to call them out on it. I think if you don't want to call a judge over.
Yeah, I think everyone should do what Eric Forsman did the first time he had to play against a player with a suspect reputation, as far as I'm aware, which is you walk up to the table and go, hey man, I don't care how bad things people say about you are. I know we're going to have an awesome game, and you're going to do none of that terrible stuff that everyone always says, and go from there. See if that works.
That can definitely work, because that person's probably so wrong-footed that they have no choice but to do things.
But to act right. What else are you going to do? You're going to be mean to the guy that just said that really nice kind of thing to you? Come on.
That person just gave you the complete benefit of the doubt while so much shade at you.
Yep. What a Midwestern aggressive yet passive way of doing things.
It was really tight.
That's a very bless your heart kind of moment.
Yeah.
The next question was rescued by Jeremy for Isaac, which is, I got roped into going to Champs Cup by Jeremy's praise of Sasha. What should I do to prepare personally for my first in-person team event?
Oh, no shit. Isaac's playing on that team too. So is my boy Brandon. Your first in-person team event.
Just have a good time, man. Don't sweat it too hard. But
have
a think about what matrixing looks like and what your list's job is, and then try to put a few games playing what your job is. If your list is designed to be a big smash list, go and try and play your good matchups and smash people. If your list is designed to be a grinded defender list, go and try and play a few games from the perspective of trying not to win, but trying to lose as small as you can, and kind of get a feel for what that's like for you.
Just remember, the most important part of a team's event is not that you put up a big score every round. It's that you get close to what the thing you said you were going to do was, good, bad, or indifferent.
Yep. If you say you're going to get a 9-0 weekend and you get a 9-0 weekend, you have done your job.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah.
And some people, that is their role on the team. And it's important to understand that, because it can be pretty demoralizing to lose 6 games in a row when your perspective is you lost 6 games in a row. I talked about this a little bit.
Not your individual result.
Yeah, I talked about this a little bit on Signals, and I think that you guys probably have already had this discussion, but make sure that everyone on the team is aligned in what your expectations for the weekend are. That what your team goals are and what your individual goals are and how you're going to go about achieving those.
Yeah.
Because the more closely aligned you guys are on that, the less likely of bad feelings at the end of the weekend.
You're also playing on a team that I'm personally invested in, so shoot me a message and let me know what you're playing, and I'll help you out.
Yeah. All right. And then the last question is from Jacob, short for Alfarius, which is, why is Anthony meta chasing? Deceptor's at a 60% win rate this weekend.
I am unironically, I would find this event I am going to in October harder to play as Drukhari than I will as Deceptors. So looking forward to that.
And then that is it. That's it for questions.
I did dip accidentally dip a question from Taos in there.
Yeah, you dipped a bunch of them, and it's okay. We'll just end there. Tausi can put all of his questions in the Patreon Discord where they belong.
And in the right...
Yeah, damn
and
it,
Taos. And in the right thread.
I gave you such a compliment before. Now you're over here doing stupid stuff, not putting the questions in the right place. God damn it, Alex.
Now he's yelling in the thread that is the correct thread about how it's the 4th and not the 3rd. So, that was also why I laughed before, is because he DM'd me and got mad at me.
Yeah.
It's true. All right. Apparently, okay, there's one more question from Tausi in the thread, which is, secondly, I'm a YOLO go to LVO. Do I actually get to see any of y'all?
And
I'm
it's
out of you.
Not me.
50-50 on me. It's going to depend on how the next couple months go. So it'll be a genuine YOLO for me if I go.
So you'll see Innes is what I'm hearing from this conversation.
Yep, I should be there. I'm not going to say hell or high water because that will create some kind of problem that will result in me being able to go. But
true. All right. And then I guess I should do these call to the high five call outs since it's that time of day. All right. So the other thing that you can get from the $15 a month tier is you get a secret Discord channel, actually 2 secret Discord channels. And one of the things you get to do is you get to get thanked at the end of these episodes. There's a spreadsheet that I'm going to read off of, where you get to put your name, and then I get to read it. And then thank you for giving us money every month, alongside all the in-person benefits that you get. One of those in-person benefits that you can get is challenge coins and crisp high fives and stuff like that. All right, so I'm going to start reading these, and they're all going to be terrible, and I'm going to laugh a lot, and then Innes will hate everything about this, as he always does, because it's a terrible, terrible thing that we do to ourselves.
It's the worst. I love
it. Thank you to Christopher, Dan, Finnis, Ayer, Irvine. Thank you, Willow Weeks. Thank you, Dan F. Thank you, Luke, Dan F. McCarthy. Thank you, David. Tell them ruin has come to their world, death, despair, and red war. Tell them their hopes and pride have come to nothing. Tell them their empty whispers fall upon deaf ears. Their gods are dead. Human reason has killed them. Tell them the angels of death have come. Tell them nothing can save them now. Clark. Thank you, Ayer. Skibbity Pop, Dan Ayer, Dab. Thank you, James H. Thank you, Colton, Dan F. Miller. Thank you, Fungus. Thank you, John. Dodging typhoons like secret missions, V8 gang, vroom vroom. Thank you, Cam F. Dan, Morton, Hog emoji. Thank you, Archon, 40 naked acolytes in the shower at Ram Ranch Hall. Thank you, Josiah Gettle. Thank you, Faresh. Thank you, Isaac. Looking back at it, telling my family I beat up my friend's sisters. Probably needed more context, Tarada. Okay.
That's true.
Thank you to Did you give David Gaylord a backpack at WTC? I did not. We originally had planned on having some branded backpacks made in time, and I was going to give one to David at WTC, but I did not. Thank you to Thomas. Dutch is a perfectly pronounceable language. Fuck no,
that's
it's
not true.
Fuck no, it's not Verkusian. Thank you. Verkoyan, sorry.
Yeah, see, that's exactly what he means. What the fuck?
Whatever. And then finally, I really appreciate that it is just falling further and further over as I read these. It's great. And then thank you to I'm taking a secret mission. Can you point out all your battle line for me?
I'm gonna start doing that. When I take a secret mission.
If I was taking War Order Rome objective, that's exactly what I would do.
I've done that. It's fun. I get really worried.
Dude, to be fair, Chris Kinnear did successfully stop me from accessing his home field in our game on the Ritual when I told him I was taking a secret mission. So write that down.
All right.
Not the one I took.
That is all of them. As always, thank you everybody for whatever bullshit that just was. And thank you for making Innes do it occasionally when I can't be here, because that is also
I 100% did not read out. So I was told that someone is trying to make us do the whole of the Horus Heresy novel by doing like one line at a time as an audiobook.
Oh my god, that's so good.
I love that. I'll read it with more gravitas next time instead of laughing partway through it, because I was reading it and I was like, holy fuck, this quote's going on for a really long time. I'll try to bring more gravitas to it. There you go.
I hate you all.
I love this, actually. I think this is great. And
that is very funny.
Cool. That's all I got. Thank you, everybody, for participating. Have a wonderful evening. Good luck this weekend at your events. You can point at Innes a bunch. I don't know what you want me to do about it. Innes is either going to do... Innes let it
wasn't
laugh.
saying anything, so
he wasn't. So I was like, I guess I'll do it, because Innes is just going to sit. Innes is just going to sit there fucking about in the bottom right corner.
All right, everybody. Nathan's already done it, so see you later.
Bye bye.
Bye.